He hasn't realized he's hooked yet. Oh, he's heavy. What the hell? New Zealand's Kaipara Harbour is one of the largest natural harbours in the world and can be a dangerous place for kayak fishing. If you're not careful, you will literally find yourself in the graveyard. That's right, there's a mysterious place in the Kaipara Harbour that's also known as the graveyard. Now I'm particularly nervous about kayak fishing in harbours, as I once got caught out in a strong current in the Manuka harbour and hardly made it back to shore. It was a really close call. But despite my fear of strong currents, I decided to take my kayak to a beautiful camping and fishing spot at the Kaipara Harbour in the hopes of catching Gurnard. But I didn't expect this to be so easy. So in this episode I will take you along to Kelly's Bay on the Pouto Peninsula. Upon arriving at Kelly's Bay, you are greeted by spectacular flocks of oyster catchers, stilts, terns and other seabirds sitting right at the water's edge. It surely is a dream destination for bird watchers. Now the bay itself is very tidal and shallow. During low tide you can walk and explore the extensive estuary. I bet it would be a good spot for flounder gigging at times. Now the community campground at the end of the bay is situated across the road from the water's edge. You'll find composting toilets, drinking water and shower booths there. Now don't forget to bring your solar camp showers, as there's no hot water in the showers. It's a very basic camp, but it's super tidy and the camp hosts are very friendly. It's also very reasonably priced and a perfect base for fishing and camping in this area. There's also a public boat ramp just a few hundred meters away from the campsite. And when you walk around the corner, past the boat ramp, you can cast directly into the channel. But as I said earlier, the mission for today was to catch a Gurnard. It is currently winter here in New Zealand, and this is the best time to target those Gurnard. Now in the warmer months, you'll probably catch more snapper than Gurnard. Gurnard is one of the best eating fish in my book. Let's see if we can get one without needing to be rescued this time. As usual, I came here during the major bite times. But unfortunately, it was an outgoing tide this time. For safety, kayaking on an incoming tide would be much better because of those strong currents. But this wasn't really possible today for me and added up to my fear of being dragged out to the entrance of the Kaipara Harbour, which is forbiddingly also known as the graveyard. Today the current cranked along at about 3 kilometers per hour, so not really too bad actually for kayaking. Like on a kayak it can go at about 6 kilometers per hour, and if the current with 3 kilometers per hour is against me, I can still go forward at a speed of 3 kilometers per hour. Let me tell you, when you're paddling at 3 kilometers per hour only, it feels like you're standing basically. It feels really slow, like a snail. Generally, for safety, you really don't want to go down the current on an outgoing tide with a kayak, because you might not be able to come back to where you came from. Now instead you want to paddle up the current and then either anchor up there or then drift back with the current and repeat the whole thing. After setting up the kayak and launching at the boat ramp, I then paddled out towards the northern headlands on the opposite side of the bay. I could feel the strong current pull as soon as I launched at the boat ramp. Paddling into the current slowed me down a little bit, but it was a fairly easy paddle. I constantly checked my surroundings and my speed to make sure I'm within my limits and that I can make it back to the boat ramp if I have to. What a beautiful morning. Whew. Alright guys, we got an outgoing tide, which is not ideal for kayak fishing. Yeah, incoming would be better for safety, but it is what it is now. I'm going up the current. Just here, right out of the boat ramp. The current is already taking me out towards the harbor entrance. So I gotta get up there in this direction, make sure I don't die out here. I only took some micro jigs and soft baits to keep things simple, and I used my deeper fish finder to find the edge of the channel. At first it looked like there weren't any fish around. So I changed my Zest Gan jig to a smaller Berkley Micro jig. Theoretically, there should also be some trevally around at this time of the year. And they do love those tiny micro jigs. And guess what? After changing lures, I got a bite. Yay! And it was a Gurnard. Well, I managed to find the edge of the channel. Here my deeper. I don't know if you could see it, but it's about 5.5 meter deep. So it dropped from 2.4 to 5.5 meters. That's definitely a channel. It doesn't get much deeper here in this area of the Kaipara Harbour. So we are on the channel. I just chucked out my micro jig, sort of slowly trolling that behind the kayak a little bit. Making my way out to these headlands over there. Those are on the northern side. If the current picks up even stronger than it is now, then at least I know I'll be going back to where I came from. Just need to get to the channel really, because further out there are lots of shallow sandbanks in there. It's just channel, sandbank, channel, sandbank. So once we found one channel, we should be good to go in there. Oh, I hooked into something trolling my little trevally lure. I think it's a Gurnard, yeah. Woo. That's what we wanted. Oh yeah, and a good one too. Oh my god, that's exactly what we wanted. Wow, how good is that? Check this out. Come on. Whee. Oh yeah, we got ourselves a nice Gurnard. And what a good size. Look, check this out. He just went on my little micro jig here. Well, with these Gurnards you have to be really careful because they have very badass spikes everywhere. They can inflict some nasty spike on you. Check this out. Nice Gurnard. Woo. Yes. Ow. They got their brain here on top, so if you want to iki them, you just spike them straight from the top, similar to a Kahawai. That will kill them instantly. Check out this nice carrot here. That was awesome. So good. You. I'm actually done fishing now. And like any other fish, after killing them quickly, ikiing them quickly, you want to bleed them. Same with Gurnard, snapper, especially Kahawai. To bleed them, it's best to hold them in the water so that the blood doesn't coagulate. I then paddled back into the current as I had already drifted all the way back to the boat ramp within such a short time of landing this fish. Oh guys, that's some good exercise. I made it right to the middle of this hole now. I'm trying to hold my position now. It takes quite some time to make some headway if you can only paddle at 2.5 or 3 kilometers per hour. When you're fighting a fish, you kind of, forget about your surroundings and you're dealing with a fish, and the next minute you look up, you find yourself in a completely different spot already. Guys, we're on. I'm almost at the hole and I was just trolling my Gan jig around and actually going pretty fast, I must say, like into the current. And it feels like we got another Gurnard on. Whoa! No, it's a Kahawai. Come on, come on, I just want to release you. Oh. Full of beans, that one. Woo. Always good fun to catch some Kahawai, eh? Those West Coast Kahawai and Kaipara Kahawai, they are pretty strong. And luckily I have a waterproof fishing reel. I've got a nice dunking again now. Check out this fish. Oh, hey. Well, you've seen it for a moment and it released itself. Well, I gotta say I'm really happy that I bought these Penn Spinfisher reels. Again, it just fell overboard and I got a nice dunking here. And this reel will not take on any water. Any other reel would probably be full of salt water now and start corroding. Or any other unsealed reel, that is. Penn Spinfisher, check these out guys, if you're into kayak fishing. Then the bites started to drop off, and as I didn't bring a cooler to keep my catch fresh, I decided to head back to the boat ramp and call it a day. We had our fish for dinner and that's really all I wanted today. Nice fish. On the way back to the boat ramp, I hooked into another big kahawai in very shallow water. At first I thought it was a big snapper, as there were lots of head shakes and it didn't come to the surface easily. I was a very hard fighting kahawai and a lot of fun. This was also safely released to fight another day. Guys, if you're into kayak fishing, then the Kaipara Harbour might seem a little bit daunting with its strong currents. But there are a few spots that are suitable for kayak fishing, and if you watch this video up here, we will show you another one that you must try out if you're headed up this way. Now, if you decide to do kayak fishing in the Kaipara, make sure to always check fishingreminder.com for tide times, the wind forecast, and also keep a close eye on those currents.